what skills and certifications crucial for IT project managers today?
Tailoring. Putting processes and tools together is one of the critical skills that IT project managers need to have. What comes with tailoring is a need to make changes. Change management skills are also essential all the time. Now, number 3, leadership. And we're not talking about building friendly environments, how you develop your people, how you engage your people.
Awesome.
And as for certifications, you do need certifications to get a job. So PMP is still a golden standard. In IT industry, a Scrum Master certificate is usually a requirement. If you have either Scrum Master and PMI's PMP or Prince 2, depending on where you live, then after that, your ability to show experience and skills are more important than any additional certification.
Are you questioning if there is a specific framework that best fits IT projects across board, or you are in an enterprise mandating a specific one? The reason for this episode is to answer common questions we have gathered to help you streamline your approach, partner with stakeholders, and still deliver exceptional results. Our guest today is someone who bridges the gap between theory and practice in practical project management. Having led IT projects for 12 years, he is currently founder of the ITPM School and also has a thriving YouTube channel, IT Project Managers, where he offers well-tested insights. If business has made you question what your delivery approach is best for what project, you're in the right place. If you're an aspiring IT PM and you want to understand how to contain IT projects, you're in the right place. This is the Life and IT Project Management YouTube channel, where we bridge the gaps between life and IT project management with practical, relatable content for aspiring PMs and seasoned professionals alike. Join me in welcoming Dmytro Nizhebetskyi.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for this great introduction. Let's dive into IT project management world.
Definitely, yes. So let us begin with the basic definitions for clarity. Like, what is IT project management, and what exactly is an IT project?
All right, I will start from the end because when we understand what we are building in IT projects, then IT project management definition will come nature. So in broad terms, in simple words, if we're talking about what do we do in IT projects, we usually build or set up IT infrastructure. So the hardware that runs all the applications and services that we use, all websites, mobile applications that you have on your iPhone, Android tools, and so on. Then we have software development projects. That's where we develop these applications that you actually use on your devices, on websites, everywhere. Today, there are software applications. And there is a subset that I would say getting more traction these days is the data ETL projects, which stands for data extract, transform, and load. And these projects usually deal with big amounts of data that you need to put together from different sources and then use in one of the software development projects or software applications. So now, based on that, what is IT project management in general? This is your application of knowledge and skills of project management to run such projects. And there is a flavor to it compared to other types or industries of project management. And it comes from the idea that we need to combine traditional or plan-driven project management with agile frameworks like Scrum and Kanban. And on top of that, we usually deal with a lot of uncertainty and a lot of changing requirements when we deal with IT projects. That's why there is like this ever-changing or ever-evolving frameworks that help us to deal with uncertainty and still build products with predictable outcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that detailed overview of IT projects and IT project management and leading to delivery frameworks. So And that actually leads me to the next question. I know that some business stakeholders have bothered so many IT project managers, and they would basically ask the question, what specific delivery framework are we going with? So my question will be, is there a delivery framework that best suits IT project management, irrespective of the IT project?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I can tell for sure that stakeholders, sponsors ask this a lot. And that's an interesting topic because you see, like all project managers and all these stakeholders are conditioned to think that there is a framework, methodology, and that works the best in the IT world. And I totally get it where it comes from. If you look around, like we have Scrum, we have Kanban, we can look at SAFe, or even like Prince2 and PMIs, PMP, they all teach frameworks or methodologies like end-to-end things that promise you to get your project to success if you apply all the best practices like. But that's probably the biggest myth in the industry. Like from one side, we have a camp that believes that Scrum and Kanban, or Scrum specifically, is the cure to any project problems. On the other hand, we have this PMI, PMP camp that says, okay, PMI professionals, they are the best. But in reality, usually you take all your knowledge and skills, and then you come to a company which has a very unique, custom built, naturally developed process of running projects. And from one side, they don't allow you to change everything or anything at once. On the other hand, they expect you to lead and deliver projects inside that specific environment. So the answer is simple. There is no one framework that you can just take, implement, or learn and implement in any organization, and it will deliver every time 100% successful projects. Otherwise, like everyone would already have guessed and implemented that. So instead, I would say the the best approach, the best framework in the IT project management is a framework which is adaptable. And as a project manager, you can guarantee some predictable and transparent results out of that frame. And this is a more challenging task than just to get a certification. You need to learn and develop skills of putting together all the different tools, concepts, and ideas from different project management frameworks and methodologies.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So for aspiring IT PMs and experienced PMs, IT PMs alike, the feedback really is there's no one size fits all solution. There's no panacea for all when it comes to IT project management, but that you have to be adaptable. And that leads me to the next question. So in a situation where you have IT project managers who have to plug into an enterprise recommended or supported project delivery governance framework, how can IT project managers align the governance with specific delivery frameworks?
That's another good question. But I want to dissect it a bit because I believe that 95% of project managers don't operate with these terms like project governments in terms of how it should be in the company and delivery frameworks. There are like in simple terms, as we see it in the real world, we have established policies, processes, and tools inside an organization, and you need to follow them to some extent. On top of that, everyone expects that you as a project manager will bring some knowledge and skills to increase the chances for success. That's how we frame this problem. Now, what should we do, or what skills we need to be able to operate in this kind of environment? And again, I will repeat myself maybe. You need this skill of combining tools, processes, and workflows into one predictable system. So that if you, for example, come to an organization and they say, okay, you need to write these documents to start a project, you need to have approval on these documents to carry on the project or get the acceptance of the phase. It means that, okay, you need to understand what's the closest representation of these documents are inside your ideal project management framework, how they align with other processes and tools that we need. And if this project governance inside the organization has some unique deliverables, unique documents, unique processes, you need to understand where they fall inside a project management framework that you are familiar with. And this is the whole idea that if you want to become a great project manager, you should have this ideal framework that whenever you land into a new project, so for example, if you put me in a new company with a project that already is going on, the first thing I will look around and I try to understand what phase of the project it is, what are the next steps, and what current project is missing to allow my framework to actually deliver the successful project. I will see if I need to deliver some or create some unique deliverables or documents required by the organization. And I will put them somewhere inside my framework. And then I'll try to combine the inputs, the outputs, and the data flow from that document into my project management framework in specific places. So again, it all boils down to the ability to tailor these different tools and processes. And for that, you definitely need to know not how to manage the project end to end. That's like you do it once. But in real life, on day-to-day basis, you have to understand how and why we need these tools and processes. What are the benefits? How do they operate with other processes and tools further down the line? And if you miss something, what are the consequences? If you have something that you don't know, how to tailor it to the project management processes and tools that you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the detailed feedback on that. So once a project manager gets on a project, he needs to understand what will be required of him, maybe for audit compliance reasons, right? That the enterprise does have in place. So he needs to find out what that is. But more importantly, he needs to conduct a current state assessment of the project, where it is, what delivery framework he knows how to competently support it with, then plug in, align it with what the enterprise expects of him with regards to artifacts that he's supposed to document, he's supposed to provide reports, he's supposed to provide a cadence and so forth. Thank you so much.
Maybe I can add one more interesting thing to this. Like you see, project managers also think about requirements usually as requirements to the product or service that they need to develop. But what I teach inside my programs is that you need to understand that these governance requirements, like these mandatory processes and audit processes, these are also requirements, but they are requirements to your project management approach. So the idea is simple, like the mindset shift is simple. You need to understand that these are requirements and you need to treat them as requirements and process them as requirements using the same approaches and the same tools as you would do for the product requirements that you get from your key stakeholders.
Yes, thank you for including that. Because once you're putting the requirements together, all those things will be factored in as requirements. So it shouldn't be treated as a separate work you have to do by the side of the desk, right? Thank you so much. And that leads me to the next question. So we're done with the delivery framework. We are done with understanding what the enterprise expects of you. But more importantly, for the IT project manager as a person, what skills and certifications crucial for IT project managers today?
All right, another great question. And it will continue this thread the same way, like tailoring. Putting processes and tools together is one of the critical skills that all IT project managers need to have. And the reason for that is that even based on the PMI's statistics, there are like 80% of projects that use a project management framework or approach where you do need to tailor processes. These are either hybrid project management approaches, combining traditional project management and agile frameworks, and they by default require tailoring. There is no such an approach that comes out of the box and you can get certifications on that. You just need to combine two worlds together so that they work in some way. And another part of those 80% are typical plan-driven approaches. Still in the IT industry, again, it's a myth. We still use plan-driven approaches. They are still efficient, and they by default also require tailoring because you don't have a one-size-fits-all framework to run such approach. So tailoring is a must. What comes with tailoring is a need to make changes to the organization, to the project. So change management skills are also essential all the time. And this is like, if we just like try to explain it in simple words, change management skills is all about your ability to sell the benefits of tools and processes you want to include in your project management approach. Educate people on those approaches and tools, how to use them, provide them with guidance. Then ensure that they adapt and use those tools and processes. And all that by with control, with data collected during this change. Ideally, you want to like check and control the performance before and after the change. So this is a very simple framework, but still you need a lot of practice because most of the time you will face a lot of resistance when you come as a new project manager or if you try to implement any kind of improvement. Again, by default, it's change management. Whenever you just even slightly tweak a process or tool, you need to introduce a change. Now, number 3 skill in here is leadership. And again, we're not talking about leadership as this notion of building friendly environments on your projects. You see, like as a project manager, you should be a leader, and a leader have a destination where they lead their people, either team members or stakeholders. We're still leading them, and in our case, we are leading them from one side to the project success, and from the other side to a more efficient project management approach. And this requires much depth in terms of how you develop your people, how you engage your people into all these processes, because you shouldn't be managing projects and especially tailoring them and making these changes at all. Otherwise, you're doomed with these endless meetings, overwhelm, and stress. You should always run projects, everything that relates to projects, by the hands and brains of your team members and stakeholders. That's why leadership is critical.
Awesome.
And as for certifications, if we ask like what are the critical certifications, unfortunately, the way current hiring market works, you do need some certifications to get a job. So PMP is still a golden standard. It's like it works like a filter. If you have PMP, you are kind of a serious project manager. It doesn't mean anything else. It doesn't mean that you are a capable project manager. It doesn't mean that you have all the skills to run projects in the real world. But that's a sign, like this is a project manager. We can interview them and maybe they will have the required skills. In IT industry, also some kind of a Scrum Master certificate is usually a requirement. It can either come from traditional Scrum Master certifications or from Safe Wall. Maybe Agile certification from PMI, but it's not that popular compared to others. Beyond that, I won't say there are any more critical certifications. If you have either Scrum Master and PMI's PMP or Prince2, depending on where you live, then you're good. After that, your experience, your skills, and your ability to show those experience and skills are more important than any additional certifications.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for breaking it down, beginning from skills to change management to leadership to certifications. I'm sure that many aspiring PMs will get a lot of substance from that. And that leads me to the next question. I will start with, it's going to be two questions. I'll start with aspiring IT PMs. So when it comes to, they pass through, or some are seeking to pass through that first hurdle of being given the opportunity. But objectively, what key matrices should aspiring IT PMs focus on to prepare for success in 2025, for example, and onward?
That's a deep question as well. I would say I will answer it a bit unconventionally, I should say. So if I were to recommend any aspiring IT project manager, what should they focus on? Like, let's assume they got the first job, they have this opportunity to begin the career of a project manager. So number one would be how much time do they spend on professional development? Because during the first 3 years of experience, running hands-on experience of running projects, it's a steep learning curve. You need to learn a lot, and you need both theoretical knowledge and you need to balance it with implementation. So it's like never-ending story of learning, testing, learning, testing, learning, testing. And for that, you actually need to spend a lot of time for learning. There is no way around. It's not like if you just execute the work, if you just focus on finishing your project with any means possible, most probably in 3 years you will end up as an expert of running small, unimportant projects. So that's a common pitfall that a lot of project managers have. Like, they don't focus enough on developing the right skills. Instead, they focus on repeating the same steps over and over again, and they become experts in managing small projects in bulk. So that's number one. But number two metric that I would also recommend to any project manager is the portion of the working hours they actually dedicate to professional development. So my recommendation is that it should be somewhere about 20% of your working hours dedicated to professional development. Because if you end up in a company, in an environment that wants you to dedicate 100 or 100 plus of your time on running actually projects, you will never improve. You will never bring something new to the organization. You will not develop it in any way. And they expect you to be this executor on the conveyor. You are just doing the same stuff over and over again, and they don't care to improve. They don't care about your professional development, your career development, or anything at all. So how much percent of your working hours can you dedicate to professional development? Either certifications, online courses, reading books, even watching YouTube videos like this one. Can you sit on your workplace and without any stress watch this interview? If no, well, something is wrong. So that's number two. And maybe I would say for aspiring project managers, one more critical metric would be how many experience gaps do I cover each quarter or each month, depending on how you develop. So again, throughout the first period of your career, first 3 years about, you should be focused on building your resume as much as finishing projects on time, as much as developing professional skills. Because for the same reason that I just mentioned, if you want to develop, you'll have to find most probably new environments, new companies where you can grow. Because you grow much faster than companies grow. Put you to run your first project, your small project, most probably they will still think about you as this new project manager even 2 years from now. And with 2 years of hands-on experience, with a lot of theoretical knowledge, you can already take a larger project, more complex project. But unfortunately, they will still see you as a new project manager, and most probably it would be better to find a new opportunity. And that's why focus a lot on closing the experience gaps in your resume. And What I mean by this, maybe it's not super clear. For example, you start a small project with Scrum and you run it for 1 year, like every 2 weeks, the same cycle, Scrum, Scrum, Scrum. But when you go out to the hiring market, you see all those job descriptions which require risk management, schedule, working with stakeholders, building business relationships with those stakeholders. And you're like, sorry, I just ran Scrum teams using the same framework and I cannot show anything about that. And that's why you need to artificially create these opportunities to train your skills, train your theoretical knowledge of risk management. Even if it's not a mandatory process on your project or in your company, no one can restrict you from using these best practices, like creating a risk register and trying to log all the risks, talking about risks with the team, and so on. So that's why I recommend that new project managers focus a lot on professional development, on building up a resume, and of course, finishing projects successfully.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was also detailed, and I do appreciate the fact that you took it on. I know that I'm about to ask another one. I'm scared that you're like, just this question here. Okay, but I will go for it. So just as I'm asked for aspiring ITPM, let's switch the lens to experienced ITPMs now. What metrics help experienced ITPMs assess success for themselves?
All right. So again, unconventional answer. The once you get through like 5, 6 maybe years of practical experience and you have successfully delivered some big projects, the key metric of your impact on the organization is the amount of money you saved or made for the organization. And this can come from different ideas. Again, building business with a customer. So by implementing projects successfully, customers bring more projects to you, and therefore you make money for the organization. But on the other hand, you can improve processes, build new tools, increase efficiency, or build the teams that perform better, and therefore you save money for the organization. And there are like endless opportunities in any organization how you can save or make money. It's just that you need to be intentional about your side responsibilities, like everything that's outside of your main responsibility. You need to be mindful of where you spend your time. And that's why I always recommend to senior project managers is that, okay, don't take more projects. Instead, strive to implement these improvements. That will be your best investment and the best indicator that you are a successful project manager. Because when you go to the hiring market and they want to find a senior project manager, they don't look at your ability to deliver projects. They just assume that you can deliver projects. But they also assume that you will bring something extra to the organization. Either you will help with difficult customers, either you will finish a critical project successfully, or you will bring project management culture to that. And that's why there is also an idea that I teach is the professional value. So what is professional value? It's a sum of your additional value that you generate for the organization, just as I explained it, with saving or making money, plus the cost of substituting you on your current role. So unfortunately, lots of project managers work their whole career where their professional value equals to the cost to substitute them without any additional generated value. And that's why, like, every time when you see these layoffs, organizations look at this exactly the same way. How much does it cost to hire a cheaper person to do the same work, to train them maybe, to handle the projects, but still in the long run, in 12 to 24 months, we will save a lot of money on this position. But if in addition to that, you generate a lot of value for the organization, which will just disappear if you disappear from the organization. You are irreplaceable. That's why the key metric for all senior project managers, like 5+ years of experience, you should focus more on generating additional value, because everything else goes by default. Everyone assumes that you know project management, you know how to lead projects, but they expect you to generate additional value in one way or another.
Fantastic. Very, very, very clear way to communicate what the priority or the priorities of experienced ITPM should be going into 2025 and beyond. Because even with AI, it should still be difficult to replace you. I think because if that is established, even if we get AGIs, PM AGIs running projects, it should still be difficult to replace you because of the value that you bring. Thank you so much for detailing that. And I really hope that many of our listeners have followed through from the beginning, and it has been so much value all through. At this point, I would want to ask two last questions. One will be, do you have any product or service or workshop coming up shortly that aspiring PMs and experienced PMs should look out for?
All right. So if you're an aspiring project manager, then I would recommend that you get my book, Practical IT Project Management. That's a great source of practical skills of project management as they work in the real world, with lots of examples, lots of simplifications, because in the real world, we do not use an approach like PMP teaches. We use much simplified approaches. But if you are an experienced project manager, then I would recommend that you get my professional development plan, because it's your gateway to developing the right skills and to deliver projects successfully, predictably, and without stress. And I hope you'll find a link somewhere below this video whenever you are watching, so I will not dictate it. And in general, if you're just interested, like, to know more about all these products, all these workshops that I also conduct from time to time, you can go to itpmschool.com, and definitely you'll find all these resources mentioned there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One last thing will be, how can the audience best reach you?
Well, yeah, itpmschool.com is my website, or IT Project Managers YouTube channel. If you just search IT Project Managers, you'll definitely find my...
Fantastic. If you enjoyed this episode, share what resonated with you most. We value your feedback because your success as an IT project manager matters to us and the world. Our mission is to help you excel, so don't miss the next video on your screen. And remember, every man is the architect of his fortunes. Thank you so much.